Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and today we're going to be looking at the French Army's elite mountain infantry unit, the Français Chasseurs Alpins. So people that have been around the channel for a while will know that I am a former 1RCR soldier. I spent 12 years from 1987 to 1998 in 1RCR, and 1RCR, one of the things that 1RCR was responsible for was Arctic warfare. So we did a lot of training in Arctic warfare. We did a lot of training in mountain ops. Although, to be clear, the only time that we ever actually got to train at altitude at the top of a mountain, because Canada doesn't really, at least where I was in Ontario, Canada doesn't really have any mountains. We got hills. The Rockies are out west, but we never went out there. So I'm really interested to see how the Alpins do it. Looking at what these guys are carrying here, the rifle, actually with that long scope, looks like some sort of a sniper weapon to me. I'm going to guess a 7.62, but that's a guess. He's carrying his ski pole, so I'm guessing that they're on snowshoes. If I look back here, yeah, it looks like they're on snowshoes. I don't know where their skis are, but he's also carrying it looks like an 84mm rocket launcher, maybe a Carl Gustav or something like that. Everything else looks pretty similar to what we would have carried. So let's get into it, see what's going on.
We are here in the heart of the French Alps to spend 24 hours with the French Army's Chasseurs Alpins. This is a unit of elite infantry who's trained specifically for...
Something you'll notice, civvies don't necessarily always understand this. Every one of them is wearing sunglasses. That is because there's actually a thing called snowblind, where you don't go blind, but the glare off of the snow makes it very, very difficult to see. So sunglasses are actually quite important. Looking at this looks, again, I don't know exactly what type of weapon these guys use, but it looks very similar to our C7, probably a 5.56 weapon. And he's got one of those small radios. Yeah, I'm hoping everybody's gone to those small ones, and that's the 3-foot antenna just folded over there.
Combat at high altitudes and in wintry conditions.
Yeah, their kit looks generally similar to ours. Although I did notice one of them was carrying some sort of a small toboggan on his back, which I'm not familiar with.
What does it take to survive in the mountains? Up here, breathing is hard. Walking is hard.
Oh, wow, look at that. Look at the snow that's being driven up the side of the mountain by the wind, and then it's just sleeting over the top of the mountain. That is very cool, and a very harsh environment.
Military operations are almost impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you're the French Army's elite mountain troops, the Chasseurs Alpins. That's alpine hunters in English.
It's definitely difficult.
For these soldiers, the steep crags of the French...
Yeah, there's that toboggan I was talking about. I have no idea what that is. Okay, there's their skis. I'm going to guess they're mountain touring skis, because that's what everyone else that I've ever worked with had, was mountain touring skis. All of the rest of their kit looks very much the same.
French Alps are home. To find out how they not only survive, but thrive in these conditions...
Oh, hold on. Huh. I'm not so sure. Those look like downhill skis now. I mean, mountain touring skis are kind of half downhill, half cross country. But the problem is that the ankles are not locked in.
I joined them in the field for 24 hours.
BB-206. So this is obviously non-tactical. They're just walking around, joking.
Okay, so it's the platoon leader,
okay, so his feet
Benoît, Lieutenant Benoît.
Je m'appelle Robert, je suis de l'OTAN.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Welcome.
Thanks, François.
Just setting up igloo.
What they're doing right now is digging a trench, and we're going to sleep in that trench, which seems a little counterintuitive because the snow is cold. If you dig a deep trench in the snow and you dig little cubby holes in that, turns out you will be quite warm at night because snow is a great insulator. It traps heat. It's going to be about minus 20 up here at night, but inside those cubby holes, it's going to be a level 0 degrees.
So there's a couple of things about what he was just talking about. So it's interesting. I've never seen the trench built like this, but the cubby holes in the side are very similar to what we used to do for snow caves. But the way you're going to stay warm, though, is you always need to have a cold sink. So you've got to dig that trench down like probably a good 2 feet or maybe even 3 feet lower than you want to put your cubby holes because cold sinks, right? So you want as your body heat and maybe a candle or whatever you have inside starts warming up the space inside, you want that cold. You're not warming up the cold. The cold is actually running out and down into the trench. That's why it's called a cold sink. And it's quite necessary. The other thing is you've got to have those igloos far enough down below the surface that somebody can walk across the top and not fall in. Because if those things cave in, it's not a good scene.
From this corridor, we're gonna dig several foxholes as rooms, basically. But probably here will be between 2 and 3 people for each rooms.
2 and 3.
How's Rob doing so far? Pretty good.
Je suis un soldat de l'armée du terre.
Yeah, almost.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, hold on, let me back up a sec.
Je suis un soldat de l'armée du terre.
Yeah, almost.
So if you look at this, yeah, see that guy's head down there? So these guys are 6 feet tall. That's probably a good 2 feet above the top of their heads. So yeah, they dug down a long, long way, which is good because you need as much snow above your head. And like I said, you still need that cold sink. So, and it looks like this guy here, and then the next thing there you saw, it looks like they're packing down the snow so you get a good overhead snowpack.
Can you tell what these guys are doing?
So we are sending them snow that we are digging so that they make the roof. Actually, it will be the roof of your room. So they make it strong with their weight. So they make it stronger.
So those skis are interesting. So they're all wearing what look like rigid ski boots. And it looks like their heels can clip in for downhill. I'm wondering how easy it is to unclip the heels because it looks like it's in cross-country mode right now, which is good. Yeah, that's the other thing about the ski. Well, actually, no. Mountain touring skis tend to be more straight, whereas these are more a downhill parabolic style. So these have to be some newer hybrid that I'm not familiar with. Look cool, though.
Just spent the past 4 hours digging out our igloo, and it's just ridiculously hard work because all that snow that you packed down is incredibly hard to just punch into.
Huh. It's interesting. So this is the dichotomy with civilian reporters, right? They don't understand the difficulty of the work, and to be honest, their viewers don't necessarily understand the difficulty of the work, so they have to explain it to everybody. But to be honest, this is just the kind of thing that every soldier just knows. And that little hole that he seems to be putting snow into, which I don't understand why, that might be a cold sink also. I'm not sure what purpose that they're using it for, but it will definitely draw cold out of the upper igloo or snow cave or whatever you want to call it.
I'm looking forward to tucking into some chow and sleeping in the Hotel Chassier.
Chow. Yeah, IMPs.
Délicieuse purée de pommes de terre et fromage à base de lait de vache.
Cheese.
C'est très délicieux.
Cheesy mashed
There's
potatoes.
pâté in the French MRE. Salted biscuits,
Okay.
and then
That's what they like eating.
a lot of coffee.
Every soldier runs on coffee.
Rugged is a good term to qualify French army in general, especially the mountain troops, chasseurs alpins. As you see here, we
most
are
military,
facing
most infantry
cold. We
that I've
are
seen, I'd call
alone,
rugged.
digging holes, and I think we need to be very resilient and rugged.
He's not wrong though.
Cozied up inside the igloo. Got the little candle here. Thought it was for ambiance, but I suspect it might be to detect carbon monoxide poisoning. C'est tout.
You know what? I'm not sure how that would work. Would the candle just go out? If the candle goes out, I think you're already unconscious. So I'm not sure what he means by that, to be honest. And besides, you could, as long as you leave the front hole open where you've got your cold sink going out, and there's air able to come in from above. In fact, I think we might have dug a chimney. I'm not sure. You should be fine. I've slept in these things dozens of times.
Bonne nuit. Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everybody. May I recommend sleeping in an igloo because I feel like a new man.
With caffeine.
You know what? He's not wrong. So, sleeping, you don't necessarily have to sleep in an igloo, a snow cave, whatever. We used to sleep in 10-man tents all the time, which, by the way, are significantly colder than a snow cave. Bit of a dichotomy there, right? In the 10-man tent, we would have a 2-burner stove, and depending on how cold it got, 1 or 2 1-burner stoves, plus a lantern, plus your sleeping gear to keep you warm. Whereas in a snow cave, you can't get it that warm because it will start melting the walls. Like 0 is about the warmest you're going to want to get it. But to his point about sleeping outside in the cold, it is very invigorating, actually, as long as you've got good sleeping gear. In fact, that reminds me, when we were in Norway, we had a guide. I was on the advanced team that went over, and we had a Norwegian guide, and we were doing what we call deterrent patrolling. And we would sleep in barns, basically. We were just people's barns, and this guy would take us to wherever it was we needed to sleep, and he'd be showing us around. All day he was telling us how good the Norwegian gear, cold weather gear, and the sleeping gear was. So we were all pretty interested when we got into that barn at night. One of the things that we were taught when we first got in was at night, you take off all of your clothing and you either hang it up to dry or you put it into your valise, because your valise was a waterproof. Your valise is what held your sleeping gear during the day. It's like a stuff sack, a big one. And it goes on the bottom of your ruck. The reason that you do that is because when you go to sleep at night, you are going to sweat, perspire to some degree. And that does 2 things. First, it makes your clothes damp. And secondly, it makes your clothes more dirty. And those 2 things together make the clothes much less good at insulating. So the longer that you do that, the less protection your actual clothes are going to give you. And eventually you'll start freezing. So we set up for bed. We all stripped off down to our underwear, and we started putting our stuff in our valises. This guy hopped into his sleeping bag, fully dressed with his parka on. I don't even remember if he took off his... I think he took off his boots, but I don't remember him doing it. He must have taken off his boots. And this is what he thought a good sleeping system was. Every one of us was shocked.
In my bloodstream, I was ready to join the chasseurs for a day of tactical maneuvers and target practice.
Yeah, that's
the
some sort
first
of sniper
main
weapon
difficulty is the terrain. You can't conceal yourself very easily. A lot of
yeah, well, he's not wrong. When you're in an open field actually, this is a good demonstration too. When you're in an open field like that, obviously these guys aren't trying to be tactical right now, but cam becomes very important, right? You look at this guy right here. He's all black. He stands out like a sore thumb. This guy up here, the bottom half is starting to go away, but obviously he doesn't have his cam on the top half. So he's, he still stands out. It's extremely important to have those winter whites. They will conceal you much better, right, in an open field like that.
Validation, it takes a lot of time to be good in that type of things. That's why we train.
True.
We're going to be following Lieutenant Benoit. They're just firing blanks, but everything they're doing right now is exactly as they would do it in an actual combat situation. Right now, they're switching out from skis to snowshoes. They're not as fast as skis, but you can move in more than one direction, which is
looks like everyone
good
in the world uses
when you're in
smaller.
combat. This is where you see the chasseur.
Okay, those guys were just moving with their rucksacks on. We never do section attacks with our rucksacks on. We actually had quick release straps. So there was Velcro straps. And you pull them down, and that gave you access to a couple of other straps that were tucked through loops. And if you yank on those hard, the whole rucksack harness would flip away, and the rucksack would just fall off to the back. And that was done so that if we got attacked, we could jettison our rucksacks and immediately go into a section attack. You do not want to be doing section attacks with your rucksack on.
Alpin really come into their element because fighting in the snow is extremely difficult. And if you haven't trained for it, here we go. Let's move.
Okay, that's better. The gear, actually, so that looks like very much like a C8 or a saw. I don't know why he's got cam on his sight, though. I'm not sure.
The chasseurs alpins leverage their skills in mountain fighting to quickly overwhelm.
Yeah, this guy's carrying his stuff. I hope the section attack's not still going on.
The enemy on difficult terrain.
I think the specificity of the chasseur alpin is to fight and evolve in a particular environment. I think it's a real good asset for France and, of course, for NATO. We intervened in Kosovo, Afghanistan, where elevation is high, so we're specialized in that type of terrain. And we are.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing I don't have a lot of experience in. I think I probably said this before, but if not, I'll say it again. We don't have a lot of mountains in Canada. There are, in fact, none in Ontario where I was stationed. The closest mountain where I was is like a 4-day or a 5-day drive out west to the Rockies. So, yeah. But as far as mountain warfare training, we did a lot of training with 10th Mountain Division and we use our hills, so we weren't in the extreme elevations that these guys are, but we learned basically the same things that they did.
Are maintaining those assets for France and for the coalition.
Well, that looks like the end of it. Okay, so yeah, they look like a pretty switched-on fighting force. They seem to know their stuff. A lot of the training and techniques look very similar to what we were doing. So yeah, and he's not wrong. It's a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of training and a lot of effort, and you can't make mistakes out there because in that particular atmosphere, you make mistakes and you or other people get killed. So that's pretty important. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That way you're going to be able to see when I put out more content. And please comment down below. I love to see all your comments, and I love to respond to them. I do my best to respond to every comment, or at the very least, leave a like, so that you know I'm reading what you're saying. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.